What are you eating right now? I mean, not literally what are you eating right now, but generally, what are you eating? What are you consuming? There's so many diet trends out there. Are you trying to eat healthy, but our lives are so hectic? Are there any like hacks to healthy eating? Do men and women, do they have different nutritional needs? And label reading. Sometimes you feel like you have to be a registered dietitian attached at the hip when you're shopping. Fortunately, we do have a registered dietitian with us today on The Healthy Dude. I'm Kurt Williams. Thanks for joining us. We're joined by Blake Avery, registered dietitian with Sentara, specializing in cardiac rehabilitation. You help patients navigate big diet changes. But what stood out to me was when I was reading part of your bio is you believe in a compassionate, flexible approach to nutrition and health, bridging science with the realities of life. What do you mean by that?
I mean that everybody wants to be healthier. I've never sat down with anybody who said, I don't want to be healthier. They all want to. And there's so much information and so much overwhelm. And so leading with compassion is key, because I know that most of the time it's not a matter of wanting to be healthier. It's a matter of not knowing the way.
You're right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's got to be very encouraging, because it's like, oh, I've got to have this very strict regimented diet, and I don't like this stuff, but I've got to try to do it because I'm trying to be healthy. What are like the big right now? What are like the big healthy eating or diet trends?
Oh man, well, I think that one of the biggest ones that I'm seeing that just keeps evolving is we had low carb, right?
Yes.
That's kind of evolved. So then it kind of went from low carb, then it went to keto. And you saw keto a lot. Well, now we're seeing a lot of the carnivore diet. Or I even saw
the carnivore diet. I've got to admit, that sounds pretty appealing.
Yeah,
just give me meat.
It's nice marketing, right? It's good.
But it doesn't sound like that would be good for you.
Yeah, well, we led with me being a cardiac rehab dietitian, right? So we have to start there. But what happens is all of these popular diets, they're the answer, right? This is the solution you've been looking for. And all you have to do is cut out all of the carbohydrates in your life, or cut out all of insert food here. And what happens is they're not sustainable. Sometimes they have things that actually hurt our health that we're not realizing at the time. And then we gain the weight back 6 months later, and we're back at square one looking for that magic pill, that pixie dust of a diet.
So there's not going to be a one diet fits all.
No.
But if you're just trying to do, you're trying to eat better, but our lives are so crazy, and you're part about it in your bio about, bridging science with the realities of life. Our lives are crazy. We want our families to eat healthy, but it's just the reality of we're so much on the go. Are there what is like the most important thing that people should be thinking, either when they're at the grocery store or when they're looking at the drive-through options? What are you telling people?
It's so much information out there to try to really dilute down into one thing. But the thing I always start with is, where are you eating enough vegetables? The answer is no, most of the time.
Mom was right.
Yeah, I know. Isn't that a bummer when that happens?
Eat your Really? So that's where you start?
Yeah.
Are you eating? All right. And so how many servings?
So we want to get 5 servings a day of vegetables. Now, a serving is a half a cup of cooked vegetables.
And so, that's also the other question is like, what? So a serving, it fits in the palm of your hand?
Not usually. Well, everybody, your palm is a little different than mine.
You're right.
So that's hard. So for vegetables, it's a half a cup cooked or a cup raw is a serving. So before anybody panics, all right, if I have a cup of cooked broccoli on my plate, that's 2 right there. That's 2 right there. It counts as 2. Because I have a half a cup cooked broccoli plus a half cup cooked broccoli, 2 servings.
Okay.
So I don't have to have 5 different vegetables. I just have
That's what people were. That's what I'm hearing. Like, man.
Yeah, and that's overwhelming, right? So we got to step back and take a deep breath. Okay, where am I at right now? The answer is that only about 9% of Americans eat enough vegetables. 9%. Wow. Which means that 91% aren't hitting that mark. So that is the place to start. That's our biggest
So you would
bang for our
almost,
buck.
but it seemed like you'd have to have like a bowl of broccoli at breakfast if you're trying to,
I
to try to
know.
get in your 5.
You can.
Because you wouldn't load up, and maybe some people do. I mean, if you're on the vegetarian or vegan diet, you would probably maybe do 5 servings a day. But
Well, let's kind of zoom out a little bit. So I don't eat broccoli for breakfast personally.
Okay.
So there's that. I would, if you do, I bow to you, truly. But if we have, a cup at lunch, that's 2 servings right there. And then we have a cup at dinner, that's 4. We're almost there. So we got to get another one in. Maybe that's where we add in the carrot sticks or the cucumber slices or something as a snack. So it is possible to get there. And that's assuming that you're having a cup. Maybe you're having a big entree salad for one of those meals. That can be 3 or 4 servings right in that big entree salad.
so a cup is 2 servings.
1 cup of cooked vegetables is 2 servings of vegetables.
Cooked versus steamed versus raw, as far as maxing out your benefits of nutrients.
Any of them sound good to me. They are all going to get you the nutrients you need. There is a
You hear different that that you can cook out some of the nutrients.
That's true. You can, but it's a little bit. It's not enough.
Okay. It's nothing to
be
stress
worried about.
over.
No. They even did a fun study where they microwaved broccoli to steam it.
Yes.
And they boiled it, and then they had it raw. And the steamed broccoli actually had a little bit more of the nutrition available to the person eating it because it had cooked a little bit. Some of those vitamins were able to come out of the broccoli. So really,
A little cooked is better than
sometimes,
raw.
yeah.
But you're saying don't stress it because
No.
you're still getting some, and you're replacing that with maybe something that's not so great.
Exactly. If I say to you, the only way to eat vegetables is to eat raw vegetables,
That's
and
true.
you hate raw vegetables, I've already shut myself down. We've already gone a step backwards instead of forwards. So,
Are you now? One way, I'm a big smoothie person,
all right.
and some people question my smoothie because I'm really not going. I'm not going for taste. Okay. I really am just going for how much can I cram in there. And so that is one option to try to get your.
Well, now you have to tell me about the smoothie.
Oh, it's kale, it's carrots. I put in raw beets,
Okay.
raw turmeric. I include bananas, and I also include the peel because I read that there's fiber in the peel. You're not saying anything.
It's true. I've never heard of that, but there is fiber in the peel.
It shows you the danger of when you're Googling something for your nutritional
It's
benefit.
true.
Are there any benefits to the banana peel? Oh my God, there are. I'm putting in the banana peel. Also, I put in the orange and
Put the rind in.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
rind. I also after I finish eating a watermelon, I cut up the rind of the watermelon in the little chunks, and I put it in the freezer so that it kind of freezes and actually maybe as ice, and I dump that in there too.
So you're getting a ton of fiber in there, which
Yeah.
is fantastic. Now, for everybody listening, we don't have to eat the banana peel. Just to throw that in there, you're going above and beyond with this
No,
smoothie.
I just figure what the heck? Why am I throwing away fiber? And so,
I
yeah.
respect that. Did you know that most Americans aren't getting enough fiber either? So you're right.
Yes!
That's my next thing. Men are supposed to get 35 grams of fiber per day, and the average person gets 12.
Whoa.
You might have 35 in that smoothie, actually. I'd have to do the math, but you're pretty close.
And so there are different fiber needs for men and women.
There are, yep. So men need 35, women need about 25.
But your studies show that it's only, what is it, about
12. The average person is getting about 12 grams. So not even half for women and about a third for men are what we're actually getting in our diets.
All right. We are just scratching the surface with Avery. There's so much to unpack. Probiotic versus prebiotic. What kind of cooking oils? And just the different, we kind of gently touched on the different fiber, I guess, guidance for men and women. But overall, what are the different, nutritional needs for men and women? So much more when we continue our conversation here on The Healthy Dude. Welcome back to The Healthy Dude. We are continuing our conversation with Blake Avery. She's a registered dietitian with Sentara. And so, when I was looking at probiotic versus prebiotic, I have to be honest. I was I've heard of probiotics and Greek yogurt and how it's good for gut health. But I was prebiotic? what? How do you what's the difference between probiotic versus prebiotic?
Yes. So this is super fun research because it's in its infancy. We're only just scratching the surface of probiotics. And what we have in our gut is we have a gut microbiome. We have
What was that?
microbiome.
Yes. I'm quite familiar with that.
Everybody knows about that.
But for those who aren't familiar, what exactly does that mean?
So your gut has millions of little bacteria in there, which sounds terrible to think
kind of
about.
gross.
We don't have to think about it too hard. But they're in there and they help to digest all the food we eat. And everybody has their own individual gut microbiome. And so this new research that's coming out is going, okay, let's figure this out. How come some people have different bacteria? And hey, it looks like people who struggle with weight loss have different bacteria than people who have been slim their whole lives. And let's study that and look at that. So we're doing all of that right now in the research, which is really exciting. But what you see in the store, what you see at the grocery store and the pharmacy is probiotic supplements.
Yeah.
Right? And there's all different kinds. And so unfortunately, we don't have a really good answer right now for what the best probiotic is going to be. But we know that some people can take a probiotic supplement, which are little pills that have those bacteria in them, and we can take them and actually have positive symptoms come from it. Maybe they have less bloating. Maybe they're more regular when they go to the bathroom. Maybe they just feel better overall. And some people don't.
So you can take a supplement, or you can. I mean, so I hear, and I'm not team yogurt. I guess it's just a texture issue, and so I just like.
So no yogurt, no smoothies.
No, and
all right.
But I hear that's good to add into your smoothie. But what Greek yogurts are good? They have for the probiotic impact that you're looking for?
Yeah, most yogurts do. So regular yogurt and Greek yogurt will have live and active cultures. It will say it on the label, actually. You have to look. You put your reading glasses on and really look because it's teeny tiny. But
are some yogurts better than other?
Not really.
Okay.
Yeah, you want to.
I mean, not brand, but is it always better if you're really trying to get the probiotic impact to go with a Greek?
No, not necessarily.
Okay, all right.
Not necessarily. I will say that there are some yogurts that market themselves that way as having probiotics in them, and those do tend to have more probiotics in them. So if you're really worried about it, I would look for those. But there's other foods that have probiotics too. So kimchi, which is a fermented cabbage. Yep. There's also kefir, which is a dairy drink that has.
Okay, I was like,
I know it's like a
that's
yogurt drink. It's like a yogurt drink.
Oh no!
You know, you just told me you blended up banana peels. So I maybe give it a shot first.
That's right. All right. No shaming if you go for the yogurt drink. Well, all right. So then what is a prebiotic?
So we talked about the probiotics. We have these bacteria, but the probiotics need food, right? Prebiotics, if we think about of the prebiotic, is what is actually feeding that healthy gut bacteria. And so really what this comes down to, as we talked about this already, is fiber. Prebiotic is a fancy word for fiber.
Oh, okay. All right.
So if you see those new sodas out there, the prebiotic sodas, I'm not thinking of the brand names right now. Lollipop is one of them. Olipop. Olipop is one of them. But they're sodas that are marketing themselves as healthier sodas. They're prebiotic sodas. They're fiber. They have fiber in there. They're fiber sodas.
Well, so what should be your takeaway if you're trying to figure, do I need a probiotic or do I need a prebiotic?
I always tell people to start with the prebiotics. Start with getting more fiber in your diet. A lot of times, those symptoms that we're talking about, that bloating, that irregularity, that just not feeling great.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? Actually, that's another question I have. Like, how would you know if you need a probiotic or a prebiotic? What would you be experiencing?
Usually when people feel like they need a probiotic, they're having gut symptoms. They're having constipation or diarrhea, one of the two. Or maybe it's a little bit of both depending on the week. Maybe they're feeling bloated after meals. Maybe they're just having some cramping and discomfort. Those would all be signs that there's something going on with your gut.
And would those be the same symptoms if you need a prebiotic?
Yeah, they all go together.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so I guess back to my other question then, how would you know whether I should be trying to look for a probiotic or a prebiotic?
You don't.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't. And that's the unfortunate reality, is that we don't know exactly. But what I start with is getting more fiber, because sometimes that'll just take care of the problem. We got more fiber, our gut is a little bit happier, we're feeding the bacteria we already have with the healthy, good stuff. And then if you're still having trouble, then you might look at taking a supplement.
So without being a registered dietitian, where do you look to find, like, if maybe you're saying you might not, don't necessarily start with a probiotic or a prebiotic, maybe and maybe it's not the banana peel. But what are like some awesome food options for more fiber?
Vegetables.
It's back to the vegetables.
We're going to go back to the vegetables here. No, vegetables, fruits, whole grains, your beans, your lentils, all of those have tons of natural fiber in them. There are fiber supplements, but I really like to start with food first.
Yeah, you hear from the experts that supplements, maybe, but it's more desirable to get your nutrients from food.
Right. Yeah, supplements. We run into the marketing again, where there's so many supplements, and supplements are not regulated by the FDA the way that medications are. And so I'm always a little leery. I would prefer we start off with the food first before we go into the supplements.
All right. I've got to ask a quick question about supplements, though, because when you go into the store, it's like shelves and shelves of supplements. And you're thinking, all right, I think I eat generally healthy, but, do I want to kind of like supercharge it and add, like, are there any supplements that, there's no way that you can get this particular nutrient. You'd have to consume so much of a particular. Now, maybe that's wrong. Maybe that's a wrong approach, or. Well,
for most people, you can get a lot from your food. There are a lot of people right now that are deficient in vitamin D. So you might see if you go to your primary care doctor, it might be worth asking, hey, can you just check my vitamin D, see how it looks? But a multivitamin is never a bad thing to have as a stopgap, right? I'm going to take a multivitamin, make sure I'm not missing anything here.
Are there any vitamins you take? No.
No. I really try to get everything from food. Now, part of that is because taking a supplement every day can be a lot to remember, and I'd rather really do my veggies. So I don't take a vitamin, but I'm not opposed to taking vitamins. I think they can be great.
Are there, because I'm clear on hearing what you're saying, especially that that you don't take vitamins, but are there like a top 3 that you would recommend, or is the best route to go with just a multivitamin? But I hear about D3. Mm-hmm. And so, like, okay, there's D and then there's D3.
Yeah. It's overwhelming, right?
Yeah.
And really, vitamin D is a fat-soluble vitamin, which is a fancy way of saying that when we take it in, we don't get rid of it as easily as a water-soluble vitamin. So there is a way to overdo vitamin D, which is why I always would rather somebody double-check with their doctor to see, do I actually have low vitamin D and I need to take this supplement? Okay. Or am I overdoing what could be something that I'm accidentally building up in my body?
All right, one more vitamin question, because they say I need to toss to a break. Vitamin C?
Vitamin C. Did you know that the vast majority of Americans get plenty of vitamin C? Did you know vitamin C?
We are falling to the marketing hype that we need vitamin C.
I know. And the studies don't show that it really helps with colds either.
Oh, no.
I know. So I'm going to get in trouble. Zinc does have some good stuff there. Yeah, there's some good research on zinc that it could lower. It's not going to keep you from getting a cold, but it might lower the length of the cold. So I'm not anti-zinc at all. And at the end of the day, extra vitamin C isn't hurting you.
Because you're wondering, like, particularly, in this season, it's like, how can I build up my immune system? Yeah. But zinc, yes. But vitamin C...
Yeah, the research is kind of meh.
Okay. All right. Well, if the research is kind of meh,
then that was very scientific answer.
Right, yes. All right. We researched many journals and found out that the research is kind of meh. Yeah. Okay. All right. Much more to talk about, because I want to get into fasting and intermittent fasting and what is the pros and cons, and so much more to continue on our conversation on The Healthy Dude with Blake Avery. Welcome back to The Healthy Dude. I'm Kurt Williams. We're joined by Blake Avery. She's a registered dietitian with Sentara. This is the rapid fire round because there's so much that we have to unpack.
Okay.
We'll see what we can get through. Bing, 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 bing. All right. Fasting.
Okay.
Yes, no, maybe?
Maybe. Yeah, I see people that fast. They do. Maybe they skip breakfast and they start eating at lunch. Right. That can work for some people. But
you hear I've heard you know what? Have 8 meals a day so that you can fake out your metabolism, because it's got a, you can outmaneuver your metabolism.
Yeah, our metabolisms are really smart.
Okay.
Yeah, so we can't really outmaneuver them. I mean, we can try. We've been trying, right? But really, the meal patterns, they've done these studies. Okay, if we give everybody all their calories for the day at once, if we give everybody all their calories for the day in 3 meals versus 6 meals, what's better for weight loss? Turns out, it doesn't really matter.
Really?
And so it matters what is easiest for you. If you are not a big breakfast person, you just aren't hungry at breakfast.
Oh, I'm a big breakfast person. But all it is, it's a bowl, it's a bowl of
right.
cereal.
Okay, so there you go. So that might work for you. But my husband, if he doesn't get breakfast within 30 minutes, it's not going to be a good day. He's not the right person for fasting. It's not going to go well.
You threw your husband under the bus, all right? He's not a happy camper if he doesn't have... You know what I have to admit? Because my wife would say the same thing.
Yeah.
That I'm like, when are we going to eat? And me, it's it's a bowl of cereal and some fruit and some granola, and,
right.
and then I'm good.
So if you were fasting, it'd be kind of a bummer of a day.
But it does work for some people.
It can work for some people, absolutely. But it's not the answer to all of our problems. It'd be nice if it was, though, wouldn't it?
Okay. All right. Processed food versus ultra-processed food.
Okay. We're rapid fire. Are you ready?
Yeah.
All right, so I've got food. I've got an ear of corn. That is whole food. That is as it was grown, right? Then I have a bag of frozen corn. That is processed. Yes? It had to be processed to be put in that bag.
Okay.
I would never tell somebody not to eat frozen corn.
Okay.
That is a perfectly great choice. All the nutrition's there. Really fantastic. Then I've got a corn chip, a Dorito. That was made out of that corn. Is that anywhere?
That's healthy. That's one of my vegetable servings.
That is my old
No? It's corn. It's got the word corn in it.
It does, doesn't it? That's my ultra processed food. So that's the difference here. So I see people saying, "Oh, I'm not eating any processed food." Well, hold on. There's some really great processed food options. Yogurt, your favorite, is a processed food.
Yeah.
But we're talking about the ultra processed foods, lots of added sugars, lots of added fats, and they are really easy to overeat.
So then that begs the question, do you have to be an expert label reader? What is the most important when you flip over, and I guess you would encourage people, hey, definitely read what you're eating.
Yeah.
What are there some glaring things that you really need to be looking for when you see the label?
Yeah, so one of the things I look at first is added sugars.
Okay.
Because added sugars are just adding calories. They're not adding nutrition. There's no vitamins, minerals that I'm getting from adding that sugar.
Sure tastes good, though.
It does, doesn't it? Those companies know it, too. Then I'm going to I usually look at added sodium, too. I'm a cardiac rehab dietitian after all.
You know what? And see, my eyes glaze over when I look at a label. But the one thing, because high blood pressure runs in my family, I look for sodium.
Yep, and it's really everywhere. And then the next thing I'll look at is the added, or if there's any added saturated fats.
Okay.
So, because again, I can't get out of the heart health. It's in my brain.
No, especially that's one of the areas that you specialize in, that you help people who, I guess, are coming back from heart attacks?
Yeah, some heart attacks, sometimes bypass surgeries, open heart surgeries, sometimes stents, sometimes valve replacements. A lot of different people come through that are just trying to eat healthier for their hearts, get their blood pressure down, and keep moving along.
Different nutritional needs for men versus women. You kind of touched on with fiber,
yep.
But any other areas that we should be mindful of?
So men do need a little bit more zinc than women. So we mentioned zinc earlier. That is one thing that
do we know
men
why?
need a little bit more. What we know is that zinc is good for men's fertility.
Dun da da da! It's time to. Even though I'm done with
your
my,
cake.
I'm on to grandkids now, so I don't. But it helps with fertility.
Yeah, we know that it's one of those building blocks there. So the requirements for zinc are a little higher for men. The other thing I'm going to say is that marketing has been kind of the undercurrent here today, right? There's lots of marketing out there, and we don't know what to believe and what is trying to sell us something. The marketing for men is a little different than the marketing for women. So the marketing for men, you might see like darker labels. You might see, I don't know if you guys remember those Chunky Soup commercials with the football players.
Oh my God.
Right?
I used to down those, and then I think one time had my blood pressure checked.
Yep.
And they were like, "Hey, your blood pressure is a little." I'm going, "Oh, I work out all the time. That can't be." And I went to my doctor and said, "Hey, they're saying," and they asked me, well, what are you eating? And I started turning over those labels, and it's like, geez, these are sodium bombs.
I know this professional athlete is eating them, so I should be able to do that too. So look out for those. A lot of the marketing for men is targeted towards, we're going to be big and strong and manly, and that is great, but sometimes they're sneaking that sodium in there, sneaking that saturated fat in there in a way it's not marketed to women in the same way.
But I'd also think that, as far as the 5 servings of vegetable, that's not, that's men and women. That's men and women,
yeah. I mean, certainly everybody has a different body, right?
What about fruit? How many servings of fruit are we supposed to be having?
5. They made it easy, didn't they? 5 and 5.
Wow. All right, how many servings of meat? Good old-fashioned meat.
There's not really recommendation here because it's protein, right?
Yeah.
We don't need meat to get protein. I know nobody be mad at me. We don't have to have meat to get our protein. And so meat isn't a necessity. Now that's okay. We can still eat meat. I eat meat. It's okay to have it, but it's not necessarily a requirement. What we know is that the vast majority of Americans are getting plenty of protein.
Do you encourage people to dial back on their meat consumption?
I encourage people to dial back on their really fatty processed meat consumption. So things like sausages, hot dogs, bacon, those.
Sandwich meats?
Sandwich meats sometimes, yeah. Not always, but those tend to have a lot of sodium.
Because I would imagine, like, if you're a parent and you're like, I'm trying to make, I can only offer PB&J so many times.
100%, yes.
So what would you advise parents that are trying to have different options because the cafeteria food is kind of, I shouldn't say all, but
kids are picky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how do you how do you navigate the sandwich meats thing?
I mean, I have kids. We have them sometimes too.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know I wanted to get to, we talked about keto and we talked about low carb. According to U.S. News and World Report, once again, the Mediterranean diet capturing the 2025's Best of the Best award.
Yep.
Why is that?
Because it focuses on really lean protein. So we kind of touched on the meats, but the Mediterranean diet focuses a lot on fish and lean proteins like chicken. Then they focus a lot on whole foods. We talked about processed foods.
Yeah.
Mediterranean diet really focuses on getting more vegetables in. They use things like olive oils, which are mostly unsaturated fats. And so things like olive oil or your nuts and seeds that are a big staple of the Mediterranean diet are going to have lots of unsaturated fats, which are heart-healthy fats. And so really, it's a balanced diet. They don't take the protein out. They don't take the carbohydrates out. They just have a nice, well-rounded diet with lots of whole foods, and it just stands the test of time. Every year we hear about the Mediterranean diet.
Is that, I know you probably can't endorse a particular, but I mean, out of all the fads, and I guess probably the Mediterranean diet's been around so long that it's maybe no longer a fad, but is that, like, if you're trying to wade through all of this, is that one that you would say that's really one that you would want to look into?
Yeah, for sure. And what I would actually say is we don't have to start off all or nothing here. Let's start by incorporating a few recipes from a Mediterranean diet cookbook. Let's start with 1 or 2 recipes a week, see how you feel. Then we'll kind of move on from there, because it doesn't have to be I'm on the Mediterranean diet and I'm never allowed to have anything else ever again. I do mostly Mediterranean diet, but also, sometimes Pizza Friday happens.
Can you have too much fish? And I know we're out of time, but can you? Because I'm like team seafood, and is that
you can have too much of the higher mercury fish, like tuna. You can overdo that, and I believe that the recommendation is no more than 3 servings of that per week. Ooh. Most people aren't getting that, but some people who really love fish are.
I'm like Monday through Friday, I'm eating fish.
And so I would
salmon and tuna and I don't know.
Yeah, I would look at it. There's lots of good information. The companies are being a little bit more transparent now because consumers have been demanding to know more about the mercury content. So
but I do try to do wild caught versus farm raised. Is that a
I haven't seen that changes the mercury content.
No, not that, but
lot.
that it's, you know, but that
Oh,
it's,
yeah.
but that it's better for you versus, because unless you know what farms the fish is
Yeah,
coming from, and
it's
that
hard to know.
And that we have different standards here versus like outside the U.S.
That's true. That's
So-
true. We do have pretty high standards for our seafood here in the United States. I know that's sometimes a misconception that we don't have high standards, but we do. So that's good. And yeah, wild caught versus farm raised. A lot of times that's a big difference in taste.
Yeah.
Not always in protein or healthy fats. So farm raised can be a perfectly good choice too if that's what you can afford.
All right,
those
they're
are
saying I'm out of
options.
time, but I have to ask this.
Oh.
Because we've covered a lot.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say are the 3 top takeaways that you would? I mean, there was a lot. I hope people go back and play this over and over again. But I mean, are there 3 top takeaways that you would have?
Yeah, so number one is to really look at how much produce you're getting, the fruits and
Okay.
vegetables. Be honest with yourself, because we can say that we're getting it, and it's just really a matter of looking at it and saying, oh, you know what, I could add a serving here or there. So that's number one. Number two is look at how many of those ultra processed foods you're eating, because they're hard, they're convenient, they're right there at the front of the grocery store. How much of this am I eating? Can I replace maybe that afternoon bag of chips? Maybe I do try to replace that with some of the carrots or the cucumbers I mentioned earlier, and that kills those 2 birds with 1 stone right there.
Snack on some almonds, unsalted
Yeah, absolutely.
almonds.
That would be a great option. And then number 3 is take it a step at a time. Do not overwhelm yourself.
Yeah.
It is so easy to do that. It's so easy to, oh man, I just can't eat anything. Take a deep breath and do the first thing you can do, and then do the second, and then make it a stepwise approach.
And maybe takeaway 4, banana peels.
Banana
It's something
peels.
to consider,
Who knew? I mean, gosh, I might be going home and trying that today.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Blake, thank you so much. I
pleasure.
really have enjoyed this. We definitely have to have you back because,
great.
I mean, there's just so much to unpack here. All right. Blake Avery, she's a registered dietitian with Sentara.
Yeah.
Thanks for being with us.
My pleasure.
All right. And we thank you for joining us on The Healthy Dude.